subscribe. I work for Joshua. He is my boss. He tells me to make a fight. It is my job to make the fight. The gamble from their side is that they want Joshua in their backyard. In America, they want to beat him and become undisputed champion. Okay, but we need a fair playing field. We need to make sure we have some control and input into this process. One of the questions, where is the fight going to be? We don't think that's obscene to ask. So that is what AJ's promoter, Eddie the Hitman Hearn, had to say. He says that Deontay Wilder and his team want to have AJ versus Deontay Wilder unification fight happen in Wilder's backyard in America. Now, I don't know how true this is, but this is what Eddie Hearn is saying, so I tend to believe what Eddie Hearn is saying at times. And if this is true, and if Wilder wants AJ to come to his backyard, come to America to fight, I can understand why. Wilder, he says he likes traveling and everything, but Wilder is going to feel way more comfortable fighting in the United States than fighting in England. He is. And I know he is, because I remember when he went to England and he was in the Sky team, they invited him to be a commentator, to commentate the Vladimir Klitschko versus AJ fight. And I remember after the fight, and they were interviewing Deontay Wilder and asking him his thoughts about the fight, and he was shook. I mean, he looked shook. And at the time, the crowd was going crazy. And I think that environment, that hostile environment of the UK boxing crowd that was going nuts in that arena in Wimbledon, however you say it. I know I'm butchering, I'm sorry, but they were going crazy, and I think Wilder felt that. He felt that energy, and he felt intimidated, I think. So I think Wilder, I think it's a smart thing for Wilder's team. They want to have the fight happen in the U.S. because obviously it's going to make Wilder more comfortable, right? That's just natural, right? If you're fighting somebody else's backyard and everyone's booing you and it's a massive crowd, you're probably going to get a little cold feet. You're probably going to get a little nervous, right? These things happen, fighters are humans. But do I personally think that is a good idea? No, I think if I'm Wilder, I think it's actually a better idea if Wilder goes and fights in the UK, because I think it's beneficial for him. First of all, it's going to expose him to so many UK boxing fans, right? It's going to expose them to a lot of media. There will be, if they fight, they're going to fight in Wembley. It's going to be a massive crowd, maybe 90,000, maybe more, if not around there. He's going to have a lot of media coverage around him. If there are boxing fans in the UK who did not know who Deontay Wilder was prior to facing Joshua in Wembley, everyone's going to know who he is. Or at least a lot more UK boxing fans will know who Wilder is than they currently know who he is. Obviously, hardcore UK boxing fans know who he is, but casual UK boxing fans probably do not know who he is. He could probably walk down somewhere in downtown Manchester and nobody would know who he is, right? But like say he fights AJ, then they'll probably know who he is. Some more people, right? Not only do I think it's better for him because it'll give him a bigger audience and a more wider fan base, but it will be better for him financially. I would imagine he would make more money traveling to the UK than fighting AJ in America. Now, he will still obviously make a lot of money, right? He'll make a lot of money fighting in America against AJ. But I think for him, he'll make more money because when Charles Martin went to the UK, he got paid $5 million against AJ. And Charles Martin, nobody knew who he was. Ain't nobody knew who Charles Martin was except hardcore boxing fans. Yet because he had the IBF strap, they paid him $5 million. So if they pay someone like him $5 million, of course they're gonna pay, Wilder, who's a much more known entity than someone like Charles Martin, even more than that. Obviously, they already said $12.5 million, and now Wilder with the whole $50 million. So I think it'll be good for him, not only for his own brand, because more people will know who he is, and but also financially. And like say he beats him. If he beats him, then the rematch will be even bigger. I just think right now in the UK, boxing is hot. I think that's a fact. Who knows? Maybe one day it won't be hot in like 2-3 years, you know, because in boxing things change. But right now boxing's hot in the UK, and especially the heavyweight division, right? Because a lot of the heavyweights who are, you know, talked about a lot happen to be from the UK, right? For example, right now you got Anthony Joshua, right? You also have Dillian White. You also have Tyson Fury. You know, you also have guys like Tony Bellew, David Haye, you know, Joe Joyce coming up, Daniel DeBoss. So right now in the UK, the heavyweight scene is really firing up, right? A lot of young heavyweights are coming up in the UK. Obviously in America too, you know, you got Deontay Wilder, you got Jarrell Big Baby Miller. I think he's a good prospect. But right now there's more popularity. For example, Daniel DeBoss has like 5 fights, but look at how much people talk about him. A lot of people, he's getting a lot of hype, and he has like 9 fights. He's a prospect. He hasn't fought anyone. But that's the thing when it comes. That's what I like about UK boxing fans is they really support their fighters. You know, I always give them props for that. They really support their fighters. They support their fighters more than American boxing fans, unfortunately. But it's the truth. But so I think is better for Wilder to go to the UK. And again, I would imagine that because AJ has 3 out of the 4 major belts, he's more of, you know, the A side, and because he's the bigger draw, he's probably going to force Wilder to go to the UK. Again, I have no problem with with AJ staying in the UK. I mean, I would like him to come to America because all the great heavyweights have traveled around. You know, all the great fighters in boxing, period, have at one stage in their career left their country and traveled and fought overseas, you know, abroad. So I would like it if AJ did that and at least once fight outside of his country. You know what I'm saying? For example, Carl Froch always. I mean, look at how many times he fought out of the UK. It wasn't like he spent his entire career in the UK. During the whole Super 6 tournament, he was fighting in the US. He was fighting in Denmark. He was fighting, you know, overseas in I believe Canada as well. You know, he spent his majority of big fights happen overseas, not in the UK. You know, Tyson Fury himself, he's come to the US. He's fought in the US. He fought in Germany. You know, even Deontay Wilder, he traveled. So I would like to see if Joshua fought at least once, a couple of times, you know, or even a couple of times outside of the UK. But again, at the end of the day, because he makes so much money there, he really doesn't have to. So, and again, I don't have a problem with him staying in the in the UK his whole career, as long as he fights legit opponents. The only time I have a problem if a guy stays in his hometown is if he fights shitty opponents and if he cherry picks. Because sometimes fighters be holding belts hostages and be defending their belts against trash. Anyway, guys, that's all I have to say. What do you guys think of what Eddie Hearn said? Do you guys think that this fight, Wilder's smart of wanting this fight to happen in the US, or do you guys think like me that if he was smart, he should actually fight in the UK? Anyway, guys, let me know and subscribe. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Bye.